Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack sources, dig out the key facts, and maybe some surprising details for you. Today, we're looking at a plant you probably have somewhere at home, maybe for, sunburns, aloe vera. But, and this is the really interesting part, this pretty humble plant is actually driving a huge global market. It's booming, kind of quietly.
That's exactly right. And for this deep dive, yeah, we're going beyond just the plant. We're looking into the incredible growth path of the global aloe vera market. We'll see which regions, which countries are really, pushing forward, and maybe try to understand why this is all happening now. Our main source for this is a report from Cognitive Market Research. It's called Global Aloe Vera Market: Growth and Regional Dominance.
Okay, and just to give everyone a sense of the scale here, we're talking, what, over $3.5 billion globally back in 2021? But it doesn't stop there. It's projected to hit almost $5 billion by 2025. And then, get this, almost double that again. We're looking at over $9 billion by 2033.
Wow. Yeah. That's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of over 8%. 8.263% to be precise. So what this tells you is it's not just some fad, it's a really sustained, significant expansion. And it probably touches more parts of your life than you even realize.
Right. It's fascinating. And when we say multi-billion-dollar market, it's not just the after sun gel, is it?
Not at all. Mostly we're seeing it used widely across, well, several big industries. Think cosmetics, personal care lotions, shampoos, that sort of thing. Also the health food and drink sector, that's growing fast, aloe drinks, supplements, and even some pharma applications. This diversity, this range of uses is really key to its ongoing growth. It points to a pretty solid consumer trend.
Okay, let's break it down then. Maybe start with Europe. The report says it has a really strong established position there.
Absolutely. Europe's interesting because the market's already huge. It was over $1.2 billion in 2021, and a projection. Over $3 billion by 2033. It's holding steady with a CJR near 8%, almost 7.981%. That really shows, long-term consumer trust. Aloe's kind of baked into wellness routines there.
And within Europe, Germany seems to be leading the charge. Their market's set to nearly triple, from about 230 million in 2021 to over 620 million by 2033. That's quite a jump.
It is, and the UK isn't far off either. They're looking at growth from roughly 171 million up to over 445 million. France is also expanding quite a bit, heading towards 400 million by 2033. It just shows how embedded aloe vera is in these major European economies.
Yeah, definitely. And you also mentioned Italy and Spain seeing big increases.
That's right. Italy's projected to grow to over 330 million, and Spain is heading towards 240, almost $250 million by 2033. And it's not just them. We see really solid demand across other countries, too, like Russia, Sweden, Switzerland. They all show pretty strong growth paths. It underlines just how broad the demand is across the continent. Beauty, health, it's everywhere. Denmark, Luxembourg, too, showing steady increases.
Okay, let's pivot now over to Asia Pacific. The report calls it one of the fastest growing regions. Sounds like this is where the real action is.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. Asia Pacific has exceptional momentum. The CAGR there is the highest, over 9%, 9.052%, its market value. Just over $1 billion in 2021. But it's projected to shoot up to almost $3 billion by 2033. If you think about the bigger picture, it really suggests, a pretty profound shift in what consumers want: more natural ingredients.
And China's leading that pack, right? Revenue expected to go from, 313 million up to over 900 million by 2033.
Exactly. China's big. But look at India. The report highlights it has the fastest CAGR globally, over 10%. 10.153% specifically. It's jumping from about 115 million in 2021 to nearly 366 million by 2033. That's a massive acceleration.
Wow, over 10% CAGR. What do you think's behind that really rapid growth in India specifically?
That rate is exceptional, yeah. It's likely a mix of things. You got a growing middle class, more focus on health, wellness, plus there's a strong cultural connection to natural Ayurvedic traditions, and maybe just better access to different aloe products now. So while China is the biggest in absolute dollar terms, India's growth rate signals a market that's adopting fast, consumer habits changing, more products available. And we shouldn't forget Japan and South Korea, still strong players. Japan heading towards nearly 480 million, South Korea over 200 million by 2033. Plus Australia, Singapore, Southeast Asia, Taiwan, all showing really healthy growth, too.
Okay, let's shift gears again. How about North America? Maybe not growing quite as fast as Asia Pacific, but still a really steady, significant part of the global picture.
Definitely significant. North America's market is substantial. It's set to grow from around 660 million in 2021 to over 1.5 billion by 2033. That's a solid CAGR too, about 7.3%. What's really clear there is the dominance of the United States.
Right. The U.S. is the giant there. Revenues going from over 535 million up to more than 1.2 billion by 2033. That's most of the North American market.
It really is. This consistent growth, especially in the US, it suggests aloe vera isn't niche anymore. It's a widely accepted ingredient. And, all sorts of things people buy regularly moisturizers, health drinks, you name it.
And Canada's following along, showing good growth too, expected to hit over 217 million. Mexico's also expanding steadily, getting close to 100 million by 2033. Kind of reinforces that idea, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Once a market starts using aloe vera widely, it tends to stick and keep growing.
Exactly. And that makes you think about consumer behavior, right?
Yeah.
Especially in these more mature markets. The steady growth implies people aren't just trying it once, they're making it part of their routine. They see it as, a valuable natural thing across different products.
Okay, let's head south now. South America. An emerging market, the report says. Sounds like there's exciting potential there for aloe.
Yeah, South America's projected growth is quite strong. It's expected to go from just over 310 million in 2021 up to over 828 million by 2033. That's an impressive TAGR of about 8.5%, 8.476%. And Brazil is definitely the leader there. Its market alone is predicted to reach over 312 million.
And it's not just Brazil, is it? Argentina's looking at over 130 million, Colombia over 150 million, and Peru and Chile are contributing strongly too, both set for big increases. It feels like the market's really starting to balloon across the continent there.
It does. What's telling is that growth across several key South American countries, it signals, wider adoption, better market reach. Seems like there's growing awareness and demand for natural wellness stuff right across the region.
All right, let's move across to the Middle East. Now that's showing a rapid climb, which might be a bit unexpected for some.
The Middle East is definitely moving fast, yeah. Forecasted to grow from about 189 million in 2021 to over $500 million by 2033. That's another strong CAGR at around 8.4%, 8.441%. Saudi Arabia is a major driver, expected to go from roughly 53 million to over 140 million.
And Turkey's showing big growth too, hitting over 100 million. And the UAE is climbing fast, aiming for nearly 78 million by 2033. Plus significant increases in Egypt and Qatar as well. It really does paint a picture of changing consumer tastes in that region.
Absolutely. That growth in the Middle East, it really speaks to shifting preferences, more integration of natural wellness and beauty products into daily life across those countries. It's a pretty clear sign of the market diversifying globally.
Okay, last region to cover. Let's look at Africa's growing footprint in this global aloe market.
Africa is also projected for solid growth, expected to rise from just over $80 million in 2021 to more than 214 million by 2033. The CAGR there is about 7.6%, 7.627%. Within Africa, South Africa is the regional leader. It's growing from around 30 million to over 85 million by 2033.
And Nigeria is following that trend too, growing to almost 34 million. So this segment, I mean, it's smaller in total dollars compared to, say, Europe or Asia, right?
Yeah.
But it still shows that clear, steady expansion. It highlights that this demand for aloe is truly global now. It's reaching everywhere.
That's a great point. This consistent growth really across all the regions we've looked at, it just underlines how universally appealing aloe vera's perceived benefits are becoming. It seems to cut across different cultures, different economies.
So let's just quickly recap. What we've really seen today is this kind of astonishing but also remarkably steady growth of the global aloe vera market everywhere. It really is a quiet powerhouse, isn't it? Just expanding its reach, its value year after year,
Yeah,
driven by all these uses, health, beauty, even food.
indeed. And I think this deep dive, it tells you a lot about wider consumer trends, that global focus on natural stuff, on health, wellness, and also how supply chains are shifting to meet that demand. It shows how, traditional remedies can get a powerful second life in modern products.
Absolutely. So here's something to think about. If aloe vera, this plant, most of us maybe just associate with sunburns, is seeing this huge, consistent global boom, what other traditional or natural ingredients might be, quietly growing into billion-dollar markets right now, things we haven't really noticed yet? What unexpected botanical could be the next big thing that's already sort of taking root out there?
Welcome to the deep dive. We take stacks of sources, pull out the key insights, and, well, basically turn complex stuff into clear, engaging conversations just for you. Today, we're getting into the surprisingly big story behind a plant you probably have sitting around, maybe. Aloe vera. Yeah, most of us think, sunburns. That's about it. But what if I told you that little succulent is actually the engine behind a multi-billion-dollar global market? And it's going through this kind of quiet revolution. So our deep dive today, it's all about the global aloe vera market. We're going to look at why it's growing so fast, what challenges it's facing, and there are definitely some, and the really cool innovations shaping where it's headed. Our mission here is to cut through the noise using a great report from Cognitive Market Research as our main guide and give you the important takeaways, a real shortcut to understanding this vibrant natural market.
It really is remarkable. Aloe vera kind of sits right at that crossroads of wellness, sustainability, and innovation. It's a perfect example, really, of how ancient wisdom is meeting modern science and creating this, well, booming industry. The story is way more dynamic than people think.
Oh, hey, let's get into that then. What's actually driving this huge growth?
Right.
Why is everyone suddenly so interested? Cosmetic companies, food brands, everyone.
Well, one of the biggest things, and you see this trend everywhere, is people wanting more natural and herbal products. It's a definite shift, especially in cities. People are moving away from synthetic stuff, looking for plant-based options, and aloe vera, it's got this reputation, right? Soothing, healing, anti-inflammatory. It just fits. I mean, just look at natural skincare sales with aloe jumped, nearly 25% last year? That's huge compared to the synthetic side. It's become a real go-to for personal care, cosmetics, health supplements. It just ticks that back to nature box.
That makes total sense, especially with, like you said, the whole clean beauty thing being so massive right now. But it's not just creams and lotions, is it? I swear I'm seeing it pop up in the grocery store more and more.
Oh, absolutely. You're spot on. The second major driver is how much it's being used in food and drinks now.
Hmm.
You see it in those functional health drinks, yogurts, detox juices, stuff like that. People are recognizing it for, helping digestion, maybe boosting immunity. And that lines up perfectly with this demand for clean label foods.
Clean label, meaning simple ingredients, things you recognize.
Exactly. People are reading labels much more carefully, no artificial junk. Aloe vera fits that health-conscious vibe really well.
Okay, so soothing skin, helping your gut. Is it actually moving into, like, more serious medical territory, too? That seems like a big jump.
It is a jump, but yes, that's another huge growth area. The third driver is its increasing use in pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals, they're basically food products that give you extra health benefits, sort of like medicine, but derived from food sources. And there's actual research backing up aloe's effects. Things like wound healing, which is pretty well known, but also digestive regulation. So you're seeing it more in over-the-counter supplements, topical treatments. And what's really interesting now is seeing it used in products specifically for things like ulcer care, maybe helping manage diabetes, certain skin therapies. That's opening up whole new markets beyond the traditional stuff.
Wow. Okay, ulcer care and diabetes management from a plant we put on sunburns.
Yep.
That's genuinely surprising. But hang on. With all these different uses and it being global, there must be some serious challenges, right? It can't all be smooth sailing for this market. What's the biggest headache?
Yeah, that's a really critical point. One of the biggest issues is, frankly, a lack of standardization. Quality control is all over the place. The actual potency of an aloe product, it can vary wildly depending on, well, everything. The type of plant, how it was farmed, how they extracted the gel, even how it was stored. This variation, it confuses consumers, obviously. You buy something expecting X and you get Y or maybe nothing. And maybe even more importantly for the businesses, it makes getting regulatory approval really hard for international trade. Moving products across borders reliably becomes a nightmare.
Right, I can imagine that inconsistency must be tough for building brand trust and, yeah, getting past regulators. What about the plant itself? Is it tricky to handle once it's picked?
Oh, definitely. That's another big constraint.
Yep.
Raw aloe gel has a really limited shelf life. It goes bad fast.
Yeah.
And it's super prone to bacterial contamination. So you need incredibly strict and expensive handling conditions right from the harvest.
Ah,
That pushes up production costs naturally. And it can actually limit how it's used in some of the more advanced, complex product formulations. Plus, the processes needed to preserve it, sometimes they can actually reduce the bioactivity, the effectiveness of the important compounds. So it's a balancing act.
so just getting it from the field onto the shelf while keeping all the good stuff active is a major challenge in itself. And then even if you manage that, what about all the different rules and regulations, country to country?
Exactly. That whole journey hits another layer of problems with regulations and labeling. Different countries have totally different rules you need to comply with. It creates this really complex puzzle for companies trying to sell globally. And if you get the claims wrong on the package or mislabel something, that can lead to serious legal trouble. Not to mention trashing your brand's reputation. Trust is key. It can be fragile.
Okay, it definitely sounds like there's a lot to juggle: quality, shelf life, navigating all those rules. But, challenges often spark innovation. So let's switch gears. What are the really promising developments? How is the industry overcoming these hurdles? What's changing the game?
Well, what's really encouraging is seeing how the market is adapting. One huge trend, we kind of touched on it, is that whole clean beauty revolution.
Yeah.
Aloe vera is basically a poster child for this. It's showing up everywhere in organic, vegan skincare. Brands are really leaning into its anti-aging, hydrating, skin-soothing benefits, and consumers, they love it. It's not just hype. It's pushing companies to invest in better sourcing, better processing, aiming for that natural appeal and real effectiveness.
That makes perfect sense, connecting back to that consumer demand we talked about. And technologically, are there breakthroughs helping with those processing and shelf life problems you mentioned?
Yes, definitely. That's a really exciting area. There's a big push in research and innovation around extraction and delivery methods. Think advanced tech like freeze drying, which preserves it better, or nanoencapsulation, basically wrapping tiny bits of aloe in protective shells so they stay potent longer and get delivered into the skin or wherever more effectively. Enzymatic stabilization, too. These things are making aloe products genuinely more effective and shelf-stable, tackling those old limitations head-on. And companies are getting creative with how you use it, too. Ingestible capsules, cool hydrogel patches like those eye masks, even dissolvable strips. Especially for medical or cosmetic uses, it just makes it easier for you, the consumer.
Nanoencapsulation, hydrogel patches. Sounds pretty advanced, much more sophisticated than just squeezing a leaf. And thinking bigger picture, globally, where's the really big growth potential? Beyond the markets where it's already established?
Yeah, if you look at the global map, emerging markets are showing incredible potential, especially Asia-Pacific and Latin America. Countries like India, China, Indonesia, Brazil, they're perfect for growing aloe climate-wise, but they also have this rising demand, partly because of traditional medicine practices where aloe has always been used, and partly just because consumer incomes are going up. So this regional boom is creating huge new opportunities for producing aloe products and exporting them. It really highlights how global this plant's reach is becoming, alongside this sort of renewed appreciation for natural remedies.
So it's really come full circle, hasn't it? From this ancient remedy people used for burns to this modern ingredient in high-tech cosmetics and even complex medical treatments. This deep dive really shows the global aloe vera market is, well, it's thriving, it's adapting, it's fitting into so many parts of our lives now, whether it's in your skincare, maybe your smoothie, or even sitting in your medicine cabinet. Aloe vera seems to be carving out its place as a kind of natural essential.
It really is a fascinating case study.
Okay.
You've got this plant with incredibly deep historical roots, right?
Yeah.
But it's being constantly reinvented by science and innovation.
Yeah.
It's overcome some inherent challenges to become this really dynamic, exciting market to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, given all these trends we've talked about, what surprising new uses or, I don't know, tech breakthroughs might be next for this amazingly versatile plant. Definitely something to think about as we watch it continue to evolve.